But there's a problem there, which is I think you just kind of fundamentally misunderstand what masculinity and femininity are. And that's what blank slate theory is. It's saying that masculinity and femininity are just social traits which are conditioned by the environment. That's what you believe. But that's not the case. And here's why that's not the case. Masculinity and femininity revolve around the idea of virtues. The way that we assign what is masculine is based along virtues, things like courage, for instance. For women, maybe it would be along the lines of chastity, right? The reason you assign these to men and women is because if there is a lack of one in one sex versus the other, the social conditions of society begin to deteriorate rapidly. So if women aren't chaste, the social conditions of society actually deteriorate far more rapidly than if men aren't chaste. However, if women lost all courage tomorrow, the societal conditions would deteriorate less rapidly than if men lost all courage tomorrow. That's why it's the case that femininity and masculinity must be tied to virtues and always have been. It's not just a matter of the blank slate social conditioning. It's you can't have a society without these very ideas of masculinity and femininity existing to begin with. Therefore, gender needs to actually have an assignment with sex for a good reason.
Hello, this is Old Man Jehu, where I talk about news, culture, and Bible prophecy. All right. So, anyways, you saw that clip. You saw that clip of Andrew Wilson, and he was talking about, male and female, kind of like male and female, we'll just say, things that they need in order for society to be fully, just from a utilitarian standpoint, kind of for society to flourish. So I'm kind of butchering this. So basically, you have men. He points out if men aren't brave or bringing stuff in, then society will fall apart faster than if women aren't brave. And if women don't uphold the chastity aspect, then society will fall apart faster than if men don't have chastity. And this goes a lot to the duties towards men and women. Okay, so recently we saw that clip of Tommy Lauren where he asked Tommy Lauren, what do men get out of it? If men are supposed to be protectors and providers, what do men get out of it? And she was just like, she avoided the question. And this kind of that did a whole that set off like the whole internet, the whole conservative red pill. Everybody was just like, wait a minute, you even had people like Matt Walsh talking about it. Like, what are you doing? Like, even like he wanted to debate, like Andrew Wilson wanted to debate people like that were on the Daily Wire, but even Matt Walsh was just like, wait a minute, like, what do you mean we supposed to get out of it? And then Matt Walsh made a good video responding to that, which Andrew Wilson made a video featuring his response to that, agreeing with Matt Walsh. But anyways, so I think Andrew Wilson is kind of like a Jehu-like character. Now, Jehu was a person who took out Jezebel in the Bible. Okay, so you had Jezebel, and you had, when in the Old Testament, you had an Old Testament and New Testament Jezebel, but I'm going to just talk about the Old Testament Jezebel. So the Old Testament Jezebel was a person who introduced idol worship, and she took out this. She was taking out the Christians, and not the Christians, but the people who followed God, the Jews who followed Yahweh, and she got her power through Ahab. Ahab was the king. All right, Ahab was kind of like a representation of the weak male, and so Jehu was anointed king, and to take out Jezebel, to go after Jezebel and take out Jezebel, and Ahab died in a war. So, anyways, that's kind of how I see him. He goes after liberalism and feminism, which are both kind of Jezebel-like systems, which has kind of made this nation sort of like a Mystery Babylon-like system. And Mystery Babylon is kind of like a Jezebel-like system, it talks about Mystery Babylon being a harlot with harlot children, which we do spread our secularism across the world, and it is rich. And it says, I am a widow needing of nothing, kind of like a lot of the women in these spaces where they talk like a man who, like, I don't need no man, or whatever. So, in a lot of men's content features women that say these kind of things. But anyways, I just want to talk about, now that I went on that tangent, we'll talk about what he actually said. So, when men and women have, when you have men being protectors and providers of the family, and women being chased. How is that comparable for men being protectors and providers? It's kind of like the movie Idiocracy. Okay, so well, you know what? I'm gonna come back to that, but let's just talk about nature. Okay, with natural selection. Now, with natural selection, you could either go natural selection is part of being something God implemented for the best of the species to be maintained, or natural selection is being a forwarding for evolution. But regardless, we're just going to talk about natural selection for whatever your belief system is. Natural selection is. We're going to talk about that for a second. So, in regards to natural selection, the woman or the female always breeds with the most capable male. All right. And when I say most capable, sometimes the female, like with insects or whatever, are like the dominant, like the bigger and the stronger. Like black widows are known to eat the males, or like with insects, the females are known to be bigger than the males. But the most competent men, have to risk their lives to mate with the female. And sometimes the female might just even eat the male, like with the mantises, I believe they do that. But with more so in the animal kingdom, you have the females like who will like flock around like the alpha male, and they will only breed with the alpha male, and then another male has to take them out, and then like if the alpha male gets taken out and he has kids, then the other males will eat that, destroy that male's children, so to preserve their seed. But it's all about when you see the mating in the animal kingdom, it's all about the men competing against other men to have mate with the woman. So they often put their lives in danger, whether it's in danger of with the other male, like it is with the animal kingdom, or danger from the female, which often is from the insect or the community. But the male has the strong instinct to pursue and to mate with the male. I mean, the female. So here, so the female tends to be very selective in a lot of these cases on who to breed. So the best can be the best of the genetics can be maintained. So survival of the fittest is mostly leans much more towards the men than it does the women. I mean, the women can get taken out with sicknesses or being weak or whatever by the predators or whatever, and there is a lot of survival of the luckiest too. But the men have to compete with that, and they have to compete with other men as far as who they're going to mate with, or with the woman themselves if the woman is going to eat them. Woman, I mean the female. Sorry about that. So, anyways, when you have the movie like Idiocracy, you have the stupid people breeding with each other unchecked, and this is how you get an idiocracy in the the genetic pool just goes down the toilet. So the women in society's role is to reward the men with rewards the men who are contributing positively to society with that intimacy with the womb, and then so they can reproduce and as well as an affirmation that you have accomplished something. But now it's so flipped where a woman will give her womb to have children with another man, and then they'll be like, okay, you can have the cleanup guy, and they flipped it so the men will feel like, oh, I'm a real man, I can just clean up after a woman after she had a bunch of kids. And it's just not, and I'm not saying that being a stepdad is bad or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I had some good stepdads in my past. My mom and my dad are married, and they still been married. They always have been married. But I'm just saying, in my family line, I've had good stepdads. But I'm not saying anything against that. And Andrew Wilson even is a stepdad. But what I'm saying is it's the role of the woman. The role, like when women like are released from their role, from their duty to be chaste, like the immorality just could plummet. Like there was a story in the Bible about that where Balaam, he was just like, okay, I can't curse the nation directly, so just send some prostitutes in there to make them to, if you want the land to be cursed. And that's what they did. They sent some prostitutes. They didn't send male prostitutes in there. They sent female prostitutes in. It appealed to the man's weakness. And then so when he talked about chastity, there's multiple reasons for that. So you have there's multiple layers for that. So there's like at least five different levels to this. So you have the woman's modesty. That's number one. modesty before and after marriage, making sure she's covered up. Number two, women find all kind of reasons not to cover up now, whether it's to show exercise videos, to be on the beach, or just be out in public, just in the name of comfort. But that's number one. Number two, you have to remain chaste before you're married. I realize that there's some women who get violated, and and we're not talking about them, but all in all, to remain chaste before you're married, to remain loyal during your marriage, and to make sure your husband is fulfilled in the marriage, and also you have and the last part, if even possible, I don't know if this is the most important part, is to maintain yourself to being desirable even after your marriage, if all possible. I understand it's not necessarily possible in all cases, especially if the wife is really working, but that's kind of, it's more important for the woman to do that than the man. It's not like it's not important for the man to do that. Just like it's like saying that it's more important for men to be brave. It's somebody taking, well, it's not important for women to be brave. It's like, that's stupid. Okay, it's just saying it's more important for the woman to be, men to be that in this society than the men. Just like it's more important for the men to know how to defend themselves than it is for the women, in order for society to maintain its functionality. Even though I strongly believe in women's self-defense, especially if you're going to be a woman that it doesn't look like you're going to get married, or you don't want to be married. It's your job to make sure you have to be able to protect yourself, both with a weapon and with being able to do, we'll just say, some kind of hand-to-hand combat. But anyways, yeah, I just thought this was I just thought this was, he was right on when he said this. This is a woman's duty that is comparable for protecting and providing and building. This is the comparable duty for women, because men make the house, women make the home. But like, is women build the society, and women provide the ability to have, for that society to have a legacy. Okay, she gives her womb for those men who built the society to keep flourishing in those societies. And when she withholds those wombs from those dysfunctionals in society, then those dudes either have to straighten up, or the genetic pool dies off, or they have to go somewhere else. So that's kind of, I believe, what's and this is not exempted either side from doing either one of those things. But I think that's why this is why women are more like, when it's considered a shame for a woman to be a slower, and why women don't want to reveal their body count is because they know deep down on a subconscious level that this has a lot to do with their value in society, and how they contribute in how society, the morality of society. But anyways, that's really all I have to say. I'll have to give Andrew Wilson props for this. And I just, because even though despite some of the disagreements I have with him, I think this is very, very good. I wanted to give, like, just because I disagree with somebody sometimes, I want to give them props too. And I thought this is just something I've been thinking about recently. This just gave me an excuse to talk about it. But anyways, that's really all I have to say. And I thought some of his solutions was kind of good too, as far as debating this with women and propagandizing, debating this with women to get men to understand the logic behind it, and propagandizing it towards women so they can go along with it. I do believe these are part of the solutions, but I do think ultimately some of the laws have to be changed. Because the law, it's really the laws that enable this, laws and culture. Because a lot of laws with the no-fault divorce, how the alimony system is set up, and the child support system is set up, and the welfare system is set up, and the child deletion model is set up. All these things remove the consequences for a woman for being promiscuous. They do. They make it easier, and then you have society. The social shame is not there, so nothing is there to keep the woman in check. So now she can just do what she wants to. So, but anyways. That's, again, if I haven't said it before, that's really all I have to say about this. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Peace.